One of the things I always see posted in the gardening groups and homesteading groups, people are wanting to know, what are you reading? What sort of resource books do you have? So I decided to finally do a video introducing kind of my library of homesteading books. So let's take a close look. I have a soap making book for beginners. I have not started making soap. I have a beekeeping for beginners book. We have not yet started keeping bees. I've got a permaculture design book, a step-by-step guide. This one's okay. Drying herbs. I do dry herbs. As you can see them drying there. So something I am actually doing. Next, I have quite a few books on what to do with those dried herbs. So foraging the Ozarks, I think it's really great to have a guidebook for your area that details the specific forageable plants in your area and perhaps even on your own land or homestead. So we've got Foraging the Ozarks. I've got a beginner's guide to medicinal herbs. I have used both of these books extensively. Edible wild plants, just the same thing here. Edible wild plants, a North American guide. Field guide to edible wild plants, and edible wild plants and useful herbs. I really like and prefer the books that have color illustrations to the ones that are, well, these are drawings. Drawings are a little difficult. So I use a lot of these in combination along with plant identifying apps like Google Lens. So whenever you're identifying and foraging for wild plants, it's great to use multiple sources to confirm what you're trying to identify. Next, I have the series by the Backyard Homestead, which I really love. So let's start with the Backyard Homestead, the main book in the series. I really enjoy this. It's a resource on everything you can do, on small spaces to large. So produce all the food you need on just a quarter acre. One of the things that they do, and I'll see if I can find it, it tells you how you can kind of start small, but it also has different illustrations for if you have a half acre, if you have a quarter acre, right? So I really like that. A homestead on 1/10 of an acre. And so it gives you an example of what this looks like and what you can grow. So I really do like the Backyard Homestead, so much so that I have quite a few books in their series. The Backyard Homestead Book of Kitchen Know-How and Backyard Homestead 40 Projects for Building Your Backyard Homestead. And then also here, a seasonal planner, what to do and when to do it, and breaks it down in the seasons. After that, I have edible spots and pots, small space gardens for growing vegetables and herbs in containers, raised beds, and more. So a pretty good resource here. One of my favorite, though, is Farming While Black, which is by Leah Penniman. And there's also a Facebook group for Farming While Black. They have Soulfire Farm, which is on the East Coast. They're doing amazing work. I've been all through this book. It has been such a wonderful resource. This is, put a star by this. Make sure you get this and support Farming While Black, which is, again, I cannot rave about this enough. Then I have the Vegetable Gardener's Handbook put out by the Old Farmer's Almanac. I've got the Vegetable Gardener's Bible. And then a couple more skills-based books. Essential Oil Maker's Handbook. I have not started distilling essential oils as of yet, but again, this is something that I see in the near future with the herbs that we're growing and harvesting and processing. How to raise goats. We do not have goats yet, but that is also coming sometime in the near future. We would like a couple of dwarf goats. DIY hydroponic gardens. Hydroponic gardening is something that I've really been invested in before we got our homestead and continue to do on the homestead. This isn't the best representation because we've harvested all of this, but this is one of my hydroponic rails that I built. And so we had lettuce in here and bok choy. I've got bok choy that I'm still kind of letting go to seed, but this is one of the rail systems and I've got a grow light over it. So I've built quite a few hydroponic small systems using coffee can containers, coffee creamer containers, rail systems made from downspouts. I intend on building quite a few more. It's enjoyable. I've got a Fix It Yourself manual from Reader's Digest. This is real old school. A neighbor gave it to me. Woodworking for Dummies. And Anna White's book. I follow her on YouTube, and if you've seen in our videos where I built the Adirondack chairs and the shelving unit in my shop, a lot of the plans I've gotten from Anna White. So I really enjoy her work. And then I've got some really big reference books. So the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, which I use as well. The World Encyclopedia of Wildflowers and Flora, a reference guide, Encyclopedia of Plants and Flowers, and Back to Basics, a complete guide to traditional skills. So those are the books. Most of them I use quite often. Oh, there's one more book. Let me see if I can find it. I forgot also the Trees of Arkansas book, which is really, really helpful. This was put out by the Department of Forestry, and they were selling these for like $5. I really like it because it helps you identify the trees by its characteristics and qualities. So does it have these type of leaves, then turn to this page? Does it have this type of bark, then turn to this page? And so really, really like this. They were selling it for $5 and they don't have anymore or sell them themselves anymore. If you go on like Amazon or something, now people are trying to sell these for like $40 or $50. So I'm glad to have that. And the most important book that I own in my homesteading arsenal is Everyman, a historical novel by M. Shelley Cunner, available in hardcover and paperback, Kindle edition, and also audiobook. This is where I get my peace. This is where I'm able to produce the work because besides homesteading, this is what I do. And of course, teaching. All right, so those are the books that we utilize the most on Connor Homestead.